I don't really care for Starbucks, but let me tell you why I drink one on the 19th of every month. When I was 6 months old, my mother abandoned me. I didn't know she even existed until I was 10 years old. 10 years old, she came back into my life, remarried my father, and basically made my life a living hell. She was a severe alcoholic, physical abuse, emotional abuse, and financial ruin was basically my life from 10 to 13. At age 13, she would abandon me again, and I wouldn't see her again until my college graduation at 19. Then again, she was only there for a short time, and she left, and I wouldn't see her again till 12 years later. When she abandoned me, there was another woman that I would later call my mom that stepped up when she didn't have to. Well, on October 17th, 2020, I got a phone call from a nurse in Montana saying that my mother was basically on her deathbed, and I needed to come take care of it. I hadn't talked to my mom in years. And so it was one of those things that I had to go take care of. It kept my number from all these years and made me an emergency contact. And there's 7 children from 4 different fathers were spread out all across America. And so to be honest, I didn't know if any of my siblings were going to show up. I had a message from my brother, who I hadn't seen over 20 years, say that he was going to be there. And then I got a phone call from my little sister, who I had never been able to meet, and she had never been able to meet her birth mother, and said she was going to meet me there at the hospital. So on October 19th, the 3 of us were there together with me and my wife, watching my mother at least die in peace. It was really hard to watch. My mother lived a life of addiction to alcohol. She never was able to break it, and it definitely took her life. She ended up dying of cirrhosis of the liver. But why, you may ask, why do I drink a Starbucks on the 19th of every month? Well, the very first thing that we did after our hospital visit, seeing our mom for the very last time, is we went to a Starbucks just to be together. My mother passed away on October 19th, 2020. So every 19th of each month, I buy a Starbucks. And now I don't live near a Starbucks. It's about 45 minutes away. But my local grocery store happens to have these. And so the 19th, I pick one up. So brothers and sisters, this one's for you. Oh, and that woman that I was telling you about that became my new mom, today's her birthday. So happy birthday to you too, Mom.
Favorite memory, hands down, lip singing in the truck. Because it seemed like when I was like 12 years old, we used to do, my brother and I used to do that. Morgan and I used to do that all the time. And it was like picked up like never even like.
That's so cute.
But you know we're there, so it's even crazier. Something that I learned, it's never wrong to do the right thing. And the right thing at that point was to go up there and forgive Mom. I had to do that for myself, for my, like, man, I'm thinking about today, and I'm like, man, I'm glad I don't have that regret sticking in the back of my head of what if I didn't go up there. And then what I brought back, because let's see, I wrote it down, what I brought back. I brought back the awareness that this is happening all the time everywhere. You see, right now, like I said, when I was looking at Mom in the hospital bed, I was saying her stories, especially, this is happening all the time. You know, and I'm speaking hypothetically, but statistically, I bet I'm right. There's a 10-year-old boy in Toledo, Ohio, where God has given him a dream to be a missionary, to build churches. But his mom passed away of a drug overdose, and his dad has to work 2 jobs, and nobody can take this kid to Sunday school. You know, there's a 12-year-old girl that has a gift, a passion for music, for something that God gave her that only she can bring life to, but her parents are both strung out on drugs, and there's no support there. So that was the biggest takeaway from me, was especially, so I'm around broken families all the time. I got a young man in my life that, you know, I told him, I said, look, he ate a poisonous mushroom and he shouldn't have. He's like 15 years old. And I said, dude, you know, I'm an outdoorsman. Here's my phone number. If you ever have a question on anything, flat tire, just anything in general in life, you call me. You know, just last week he knocked on my door to talk to me. So it's like, and you know, his dad's not in his life and things like that. But my goodness, it's rampant everywhere, just broken families. And, you know, I see where people who were not my blood family stepped up and, you know, became my family. And so that was the biggest thing that I brought back, was the awareness that this is happening everywhere. And maybe God put us in this position to be the light to them. So there you go.
And when you put it like that, I mean, that's 100% true.
I don't mean to bring things so heavy sometimes. I really don't, but that's just kind of the way my mind works.
Here's the story on my I drink Starbucks every month on the 19th. When I was a baby, I was adopted. My birth mom had a lot of problems. She was an alcoholic, and when she was pregnant with me, she was put in jail for multiple DUIs. My birth mom had 6 boys and 1 girl. I was the 1 girl. My brother Jason had been adopted by the people who adopted me as well. My birth mom reached out to my parents who adopted me and told them that she was pregnant. So I grew up with my brother Jason. Like I said, I was adopted as a baby, and after I was born, I never saw my birth mom again. I never heard from her. I didn't get any letters, no text. I didn't have her on social media. I'm not really sure why she didn't want to reach out. That's not really the point though. I never heard from her until I was 15 years old. My whole life I had longed to know her, ask her all these questions that I had. And when I was 15, she called my mom, who adopted me, and said that she wanted to talk to me. When my mom had told me that she had called, I was in complete shock. I had waited my whole entire life to get this call from my birth mom. So you can imagine why I was in shock. When I got on the phone with my birth mom, I immediately started crying, and she started crying. And before my birth mom could even say anything, I told her that I forgave her and that I loved her. And to this point, I still had never met her in person. This was the only time I had ever had any communication with her, was on the phone call. After that phone call, I sent her a long message about who I became to be as a woman and like all my accomplishments. So we would text quite a bit, but that was pretty much it. Flash forward 2 years later, on October 17th, I got a call from my oldest brother, Morgan. He told me that our birth mom was in the hospital, and that it wasn't looking very good, and that she was probably going to pass away in a couple of days. I broke down after hearing that. It was hard. I didn't know what to feel, because the woman who I'd longed to know my whole life wasn't gonna be here anymore. Like for part two. Part 2. After finding out that she was going to pass away, I immediately made the decision to fly out to Montana, where she was living. My mom helped me, my mom and my dad helped me find a plane ticket that night, and I was gonna leave the next morning. Also, shout out to everyone who helped me fund that plane ticket, and everyone who prayed for me that day. It was hard. Like, I've never been through anything like this. So, October 18th, 2020, I flew out to Montana. This was the first time I met my other older brother, Daniel. I'd already met my other older brother, Cody, a few years before this. So when I get to Montana, I meet Daniel for the first time, and I got to see Cody again, and I got to meet Daniel's wife, Kaley. Sweetest people ever. I love them all so much. But that night when I got into Montana, I went into my birth mom's hospital room. My brother Daniel went in there with me, and we kind of just stood there looking at her for a minute. This was the first time in my whole life that I had ever seen her in person. I'm a Christian, so is my brother Daniel and most of my family. So after standing there for a little bit, my brother Daniel prayed with her. She was unconscious the whole time we were there, but I've heard hearing is the last thing to go, so I'm sure she heard us. But he prayed with her to become a Christian. It was a really special moment. After that, we left and we went back to the room and got to know each other. We told stories. And I'm not gonna lie, my mom was never really there for the rest of my brothers and I. She had a lot of problems, which is why forgiveness comes into play, because even though we don't deserve it, God forgave us, so who am I to withhold forgiveness from her? So the next day is October 19th, and we go to the hospital and we decide to take her off of life support. We watched her pass away. It was traumatizing, honestly, but it was also a sweet and tender moment. So we said our goodbyes and we left the hospital, and after that we went to Starbucks. So every month on the 19th I go to Starbucks for my birth mom and for all of my brothers. So Deborah, happy 19th. I miss you every day.
Literally all the brothers are so good at talking, and there's me. Why didn't I
Who's good
not
at
get that
singing?
gift? What?
Who's good at singing?
Yeah. Don't try to be a singer. Hey, don't try to
Hey,
be
we
a
heard you. We heard you sing.
Yeah. I just sometimes wish I could talk. Like, I can write things so well, like how I feel, and when I talk, it's like, oof, it's gone. But, oh well.
So what about you, Kaley?
Okay. Gosh, there's just so many memories in 3 short days. Gosh. There's so much. Okay, I have a few. One of my favorites was eating dinner that night. That was really fun. And then I would have to say going to that cathedral was definitely a highlight for me. It was really pretty. What else? There was one more. Just left my brain. Oh, you were trying to do that plank challenge.
The what?
The plank challenge.
Yes.
That was funny. And the snowball fight that we had.
Yep.
That was good. And probably my top memory overall was us sitting in there while she passed away. I don't know. That's like engraved in my brain.
I agree.
Yeah. I've never like cried so much so silently. I don't think I made a sound.
That's
But like
good.
the water would not stop coming out of my eyeballs. It's crazy. It was definitely a different feeling, but it was peaceful at the same time.
Agreed.
So, okay, what was the other question?
I don't remember now. You have them written down, Daniel?
Yeah, Daniel.
Yeah. Favorite memory, something that I learned, and then something you brought back.
Okay. Something that I learned. Can we come back to that one?
Yeah.
Okay. Something I brought back was physically was her maroon jacket that she had worn there. And somehow I have lost it, and it's driving me crazy. I've cried over it so many times. I'm just praying that it magically shows back up. I don't know, maybe God's trying to tell me something or teach me something, but it's driving me crazy. But I did bring that back. Something I learned was that I had a family to go back home to, like a mom and dad to go back home to, that
That's
could
good.
help me through all of it. So like even though my birth mom was gone, I still had my mom and my dad.
Yep.
So
That's awesome.
yeah. Like losing Debbie was extremely hard, and it's still hard. And I mean, it still hurts to this day, but I don't know what I would do if I lost my dad or my mom. I feel like that would be even worse. So it taught me to appreciate them, and I'm still just really thankful, especially for my mom, because I know it was so hard for her to like fight for me for so long when she was trying to adopt me, and then Debbie took me back for 40 days, and it was probably the hardest time, she said, in her life. And growing up, I always wanted to know Debbie, but she was always so willing to like talk about her and willing to tell me stories, and she wanted me to meet her. So yeah, she's just selfless. I don't know what I would do without her.
Your parents are amazing, and they're both
Yeah.
amazing people.
They are. My dad is a goofball. I love him.
He's a funny guy, that's for sure.
Gosh.
This is the story of why I drink Starbucks on the 19th of every month. At least I try to. Sometimes it might be a coffee from the local coffee shop across the street. But if you're just now learning about this story, I recommend you going to my sister's and my brother's TikToks and watching theirs as well, because this is a story about family. So my mom met my dad back in 88, I think. They got married. They had my older brother Steven and then myself. When I was about 2 years old, my mom left. Since then, I haven't really heard from her. The last time I heard from her was either in 3rd or 4th grade. My father came and got me out of school to have lunch with her, her husband, her new husband, and my 2 older half-brothers who I met for the first time. Since that day, I haven't heard from her since. And life went on, and my dad raised me and my brother Steven until I was 19. July of 2011, my father had passed away. A few years have gone by, and on February 29th of 2017, I received a message from my sister Kaley's mom. The message just said, "Hey, I'm looking for information on Debbie Ballard. If this is the right person, you're Kaley's and Jason's half-brother." So I was kind of shocked, because I knew I had other half-brothers and half-sisters, but I didn't know where or how to find them. So through the power of social media, this eventually led to us connecting with all of our siblings. There's 7 of us total, 6 sons and 1 daughter from 4 different dads across the United States. Eventually, on one of my business trips to South Carolina, I was actually able to meet Jason and Kaley for the first time. And it was really awesome to be able to meet them. Shortly after that, the oldest one of us all, he actually reached out and gave me Mom's number. Now, I haven't spoken to my mother since that one time when I was in elementary school. So I held on this number, not knowing what I would say, how I would say it, if I was going to be angry, sad, or what. So after a few days, I decided to go ahead and give it a call, and she answered. I said, "Hey, this is your son." She apologized, and I instantly forgave her. I wasn't mad. I wasn't angry. I forgave her. So since then, we just started texting and talking every now and then. Wasn't frequent, but that's what it was. Stay tuned for part 2. So part 2 of why I drink Starbucks on the 19th of every month. On October 17th, 2020, I got a call from my brother, and he stated that mom is in the hospital and probably isn't going to make it. So I thought about it and talked with my wife, and I decided to make the trip out to Helena, Montana from Spokane, Washington. It was only about a 5 or 6 hour drive. So come to find out that one of my older half brothers, Daniel, was going to be there, who again I haven't seen since that one time in third or fourth grade, and then my younger sister Kaley, who I haven't seen for, it's been about 2 or 3 years at this point. So I made the trip and I went to Helena, Montana, and I was able to see Daniel, his wife Kaley, and also my sister Kaley. On October 19th, we woke up and we went to the hospital. We all said our goodbyes, and we all spent alone time with her. And we watched her pass. It was a moment I can't describe 100%, but we were all there. We were all around her, and we were all praying for her. So after she passed, and after a while, we left the hospital, and we actually went to a Starbucks to get a coffee. And ever since, we've been doing this thing where we, on the 19th of every month, we get a Starbucks coffee, or in my case, a coffee to represent. Our mother, from the other stories you've heard from my brother and my sister, she had a hard life, and one thing she did amazing was create 7 amazing children. So, Mom, it's to you. So I know, my favorite memories, I would have to agree. I mean, we're driving and singing along the Backstreet Boys and stuff like that. Just like, we were jamming out, man.
We'll have those videos.
Yep. But also, I very much enjoyed our time. Like every night when we got back to the house, like we all, we basically talked like about shared stories, and that moment was kind of like my favorite time. I enjoyed hearing Daniel's sides of the stories, of hearing about Mom, especially when she was doing good. And Kaley, I always enjoy hearing about your life growing up as well. So I think that was awesome. I mean, even my Facebook profile still had the picture of us jumping from the cathedral steps. That's still my Facebook header photo. But no, that I think probably each night when we were always went home, or went back to the house and just conversated between us. I think that was awesome. One thing I learned, well, I kind of already had a feeling of this by hearing it, but I definitely learned, Kaley, you do have an amazing voice and singing voice, and you need to go far with that. Like that, I agree. Something in music is your calling, and yeah. And Daniel, your dad jokes, I remember those. But no, I think I agree on that. Something that I learned. Daniel is such a godly person, and one of the most godliest persons I've met, and that's awesome. And that you see that right through you. I mean, see that through you talking to you, and that's amazing. And one thing I brought back is just the experience itself, and being able to still have that connection between at least just us. And I know Kaley was a part of that too. And Kaley, she was. I'm glad she was there. She's such an amazing woman as well. So But yeah, the experience itself is what I brought back, and the connection that we still have. So
Shout out to Kaley. She's the best.
right.
No,
Oh. What
You
was it
know
that
she
you always
was
say? Glenda? Gina, yes.
Wait. There was another one.
It was Gina
my
and
drama. Okay.
oh, my drama.
I'm gonna throw.
Drama.
Yeah.
Gina.
Hold on, I'm gonna throw.
Oh, man.
So go ahead and just go. You're gonna go Gina and oh my drama. Okay, hold on, wait. Go.
Gina. Oh my drama. Oh my drama. Like that's how she would say it.
Yep.
Oh my drama. Oh my gosh. I miss that. Does she still do that?
Oh my goodness, yes. But now her and Fran does the same thing. But they're onto this man and it's doing something crazy.
I could see her doing that too.
This man.
Yeah.
No, I told Kaley and she was so jealous because I told her this is what we're doing. She's like, oh my goodness, her and Fran are volleyball coaches at our local at our school or whatever, and it's senior night, so they weren't able to get away. So, but she missed you guys very, very much. So,
Well, I mean, I would love to do this again. I enjoyed very much talking with you both. So,
Me too.
I do have to get going because I have to go pick up my son from the school bus stop here in about eight or 9 minutes. But
I have school to do.
oh, it's like almost evening here, man.
It's only 3:45 here.
It's 7 here.
Oh my.
Huh?
Well,
But I
6
mean,
is
I wake
bad.
up at 6 a.m. to start. Well, like 5 o'clock to start work at 6, and then yeah.
Ew.
Wow.
No, the earliest I can do is 8, but I'd rather get up at like 10.
You know, it's crazy because
Wow.
like when I first started Comcast, my shift was 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. And I thought I loved that shift because I could, stay up late and then sleep in and go to work and be all good. And then I had that shift for about 6 months. And then they put me on 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. I'm like, what's going on, you cruel people?
It's the worst.
I've been on it ever since, almost 5 years now, and I'm used to it now. But
Gosh, I did that shift at a nursing home, like in the kitchen as a wait staff. Old people are so cranky in the morning, let me tell you. They will slit your throat if you don't get the cereal right.
oh man,
Yeah.
All right, guys, it was really good catching up with you.
yes indeed. We'll have to
We'll
do it
definitely
again.
have to do it again.
Well, we have to meet up, like actually meet up again, because I know my wife, she wants to meet you as well. And I know she shared your one video about Buddy,
Oh,
the swan.
Oh, Bobby. Yeah.
Bobby, yeah. She shared that, and I was like, yeah.
Hey, Bobby.
Yep.
Bobby. That was cute.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just a little thing.
I'm doing all online classes next semester, so I could probably travel more.
There you go.
Just to put that out there.
Well, that's like with me at work. I mean, as long as we have somewhere where it's Wi-Fi, I can go anywhere, anytime.
That's awesome. Yeah, we'll definitely have to do something. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, I am going to have to get going and pick up my son. So, good talking to you guys.
Yeah, man.
I
I'll
love
see you
y'all.
guys later.
Love y'all.
Love you too.
Bye.